Dr. Williams, thank you for your kind remarks and for leading this whole division in education. I deeply respect your ministry and your leadership. I consider you to be a true bishop in both the public sense of the word and representing our tradition to the broader Christian world and the world, and in leading us, the people in the Church of God. Thank you for your support and encouragement of me in my ministry. And Dr. Land, thank you very much for your kind remarks. We've traveled many years together through seasons of life and the growth of our children, the aging and death of our parents, and the growth and development of our seminary. Yes. And I appreciate so much your support, your guidance, deeply respect your love for the church, for the holiness of that church, and your passion for the kingdom. But no, I will not team teach with you that course we did a few years ago, Holiness, Sexuality, and Power. I will never do that course again. Our students just about lynched us. Seriously.
It was great.
And I am most grateful and humbled by the honor bestowed upon me by my colleagues. Thank you, Dr. Lynn Stone and members of the selection committee, for the confidence and the trust that you have shown in me. You know, I'm part of a large worldwide cadre of teachers and scholars, many of whom more richly deserve this award. The Church of God's commitment to have a theological university on every continent has resulted in the creation of first-rate institutions where women and men are being trained in service to the mission of God. I will pay to teach at semi-state. I'll pay. You don't have to pay me. I'll pay you.
You're hired.
I'm most grateful to my husband, Jackie, for it is he who has encouraged me the most to fulfill God's calling on my life. It's not been easy for him to do so. For many times it meant that he put his own interest aside for my sake. When I was hired at the seminary, there was a slot open, and Dr. Beatty, Dr. James Beatty, brought Jackie and I into his office and said, you know, I can put either name before the board. Is it, you know, I don't care. Jackie said, I really think Cheryl should be at the seminary. And so, you know, he has always put himself sometimes behind me in order that I might fulfill God's calling. And that takes a true man, a very strong person. Jackie and I met in a philosophy class at Lee, and we've been dialoguing ever since, arguing. The political season is here, and he's of one party, and I'm of another, and life is very interesting at times. It's a continuing conversation, and an unending adventure, and a shared journey with God and into God. I am most grateful to Church of God educational institutions that have provided me the free space when I could discover and grow and fulfill my calling. As a student at Lee College, I found a place where I could be grounded and nurtured. There were professors such as John Sims, who taught me contemporary theology and would help me read Bultmann and Harvey Cox and Niebuhr and Chardin, and all of those things prepared me well for seminary. Martin Baldry, who loved me and tried to talk me out of marrying Jackie, called me into his office that day. And they're relatives. They were relatives. I didn't understand. But I am grateful for my experience at Lee. Church of God educational institutions have given the free space for me to teach, first at Northwest Bible College, where Jackie and I taught everything under the sun, from Bible, theology, Christian education, math, music, psychology. If they found it on your transcript, you taught it the next semester. This baptism of fire provided us an intensive 3 years experience that served well in the ensuing years. And Lee has given me free space to teach when Jackie and I moved back to Cleveland, and he was involved in local church ministry at the Westmore Church of God. And during this time, our baby daughter was born, and Bob and Kim Fisher kept her about a block from campus while I was nursing and writing my dissertation at the same time. Baptism of fire. I don't want to hear anyone's story about how bad their dissertation experience was. In the mid-'80s, I was part of what I call the gathering. God sent to the Church of God School of Theology, now the Pentecostal Theological Seminary, a group of young scholars, Ricky Moore, Chris Thomas, Steve Land, Jackie, and myself. And there we joined the distinguished faculty of Hollis Gauss, French Harrington, F.J. May, Robert Crick. This gathering was a calling out and a calling to, a creation of a scholarly prophetic community. And within this community I have found refuge, friendship, and I have been able to grow and develop my scholarship and to develop as a teacher. It is a community that has impacted the kingdom. And we have sought to educate, as Dr. Land mentioned, at the intersection of Athens, Berlin, and Azusa. In other words, we've attempted to construct a unique gestalt, a paideia of the classical education formative skills, of critical skills of the German model of scholarship, and add to the mix this radically democratic epistemology of Azusa Street. And this unique gestalt offers an education that is formative, critical, and prophetic. I'm grateful for the free space that Lee University continues to offer me. Some of the more creative and non-traditional endeavors I have partnered with Lee in recent years, and I'm so grateful for that. I believe that when Dr. Carolyn Dirksen opens her email and she sees something from me, she must pause and wonder, what does she want to do now? Now, I must admit, there have been a couple of crazy ideas. You just have to discern, just discern. But I'm very grateful to Dr. Kahn and Carolyn for joining with me a couple of years ago with some friends from Harvard Medical School and hosting a conference on the care of creation. You showed gracious hospitality to some of the top world scientists, Nobel Prize winners. And they were so impressed with the turnout and the level of interest. And you have provided me free space to dialogue at the Women's Roundtable with some of the most brightest young women at Lee. I love to just go over and hang out with the Women's Roundtable about once a month, and not that I would ever recruit or do anything like that. I have great hope for the future of education in the Church of God. But I also know that there are winds blowing in the field of higher education that do not bode well for faculty. It is my hope that the Church of God will go against the current tide in education, namely to reduce the role of faculty, limit tenure and advancement, a move toward understanding faculty as mere technical instructors. It is my hope that we will continue to acknowledge the powerful role of people and invest in them. People remember their teachers, who serve as models of scholarship and teaching and faith. And around the world, there are people who are indebted to the Roberto Riveras, the Lois Beaches, the French Harringtons, the Hollis Gauses, the Don Battles, the Bob O'Bannons, the Martin Baldrys, the Carolyn and Merle Dirks. I could go on and on. James Beatty, Ricky Moore, Stephen Lang. I could just, all on and on. Our daughter, Alethea, was recently named as one of the top doctors in Northern Virginia. And I know, she knows, that she is such a great physician because of her professors at Lee, who invested in her, who believed in her, who mentored her, and helped launch her into medical school. We must preserve the treasures that are the faculty. And the wisest man I know, Jackie, observes that one of the greatest challenges for the Church of God is to define the purpose of higher education and then to create a sustainable model that will preserve the faith, confront the changing challenges, and nurture people in a spirit-filled life. And we must work hard to preserve the faith. But it is not wise to fight encroaching liberalism with a rigid fundamentalism. And it is my hope that our educational institutions will continue to be those free spaces where there is academic freedom and freedom to creatively teach and research. I believe that Pentecostalism offers to the world hope, the full gospel, namely that salvation means the healing of all creation, the healing of our sick bodies, the healing of our minds, the healing of our sin-sick souls, the healing of the whole cosmos. One day, the whole cosmos will be reclaimed and healed. Salvation means the healing of creation. That is our mission. That is missional education in the Church of God, is to participate in this healing of creation. A few years ago, I had an engaging conversation with E.O. Wilson, a leading scientist in the world, who is not an atheist, not a believer in God, but he loves the creation. He's like a child who wonders at creation. As I explained to him a Pentecostal worldview, namely, we see the Creator's Spirit at work in things, and in all places. He said to me these words, well, if what you were saying is true, then you are the true humanist. What a compliment. What a compliment. If what you were saying is true, I'm not sure if it was, then you're the true humanist. Church of God education can bring about a new renaissance. Pentecostal education can do this. A new flourishing of the human mind and of the human spirit. It is a form of education that does not see separation between the so-called secular and the theological. A form of education that seeks to preserve the faith while at the same time works to creatively construct new paradigms wherein this ancient faith can flourish. We can, together, work toward the flourishing of humankind. We can be the true humanist, those who see no discrepancy between speaking in tongues and probing dark matter. We can, in the words of James K. Smith, a Pentecostal scholar at Calvin College, nonetheless, think in tongues. If professors at Calvin College can articulate such things, then we should give up our shame-based identity, drink from our own wells, and change the world. Thank you.